Hello everyone, today we're going to study lessons 3 and 4 of Unit 3 titled Town and Country. So now let's start with this quick revision here. Choose the correct answer. Number 1. My city is on the Mediterranean coast and it has an important port which has two. So the answer is Harper's. Number 2. It's a city with lots of international restaurants. So the answer is Cosmopolitan. Number 3. My granddad always says getting up early doesn't harm. So the answer is doesn't do harm. Number 4. I really badly in my exams. I only passed 3 of them. So I did. So now let's study this grammar lesson titled Quantifiers. So what are quantifiers? A quantifier is a word or phrase which is used before a noun to indicate the amount or quantity. Some and any, much and many are examples of the quantifiers. So let's start with some and any. So we use some in affirmative statements and questions, and we use any in negative sentences or statements and in questions. So we usually use some in affirmative sentences and any in negative sentences and questions. Examples: there are some traffic lights at the end of the road. So after some we put a plural countable noun. So look at this, traffic lights. This is a plural noun. There is some pasta on the table. So this is an affirmative statement like the first one and with an uncountable noun, pasta. That's why it takes a singular verb is. So there is some pasta on the table. Okay, they haven't got any money. So this is a negative statement or sentence. That's the reason why we use any. So they haven't got any money. A question: do you need any help? Okay, this is a question. So we usually use some when we offer or ask for something. So there is that case when we use some in questions, when offering or requesting something. For example, would you like some tea? So this is offer. Can I borrow some money? This is a request. So when we want to refer to a plural noun or an uncountable noun without giving a specific quantity, okay, we use some and any. We use some in affirmatives and any in questions and negatives. Examples: there is some milk. So milk is an uncountable noun. That's the reason why it takes a singular verb. And this is an affirmative statement. That's the reason why we use some. So there is some milk. There isn't any milk. We used any because this is a negative statement. Is there any milk? So this is a question asking about whether something exists or not. Okay, there are some chips. So this is an affirmative statement with a plural noun, chips. There aren't any chips. So this is a negative one. Are there any chips? So this is a question. Here are some examples. We have some free time later this afternoon. Notice here that time is an uncountable noun. She doesn't want any coffee. A negative statement with an uncountable noun, coffee. Do they need any bread? Again, this is a question with an uncountable noun. I went to some meetings in Rome last week. Some meetings. So meetings is a plural countable noun. Will there be any managers at the party? Will there be any managers? So this is a countable plural noun or a plural countable noun. Okay, managers. Exception. As in as is common English, there is an exception to this rule. When we make requests and offers, we usually use some instead of any. For example, can I have some water, please? So, can I have some water, please? This is a polite request. Would you like some chocolates? This is an offer. Now let's move on to a little and a few. We use a little with uncountable nouns, and we use a few with countable nouns. So, here are some examples. Julia ate a little rice. And by a little we mean that there is not a lot of something, but it is enough. So Julia ate not a lot of rice, but it was enough. If we dropped the letter A, it would be something like this. Julia ate little rice, and the meaning would be different. It would mean that Julia ate not a lot of rice, but it wasn't enough. And the same applies to a few. Okay, Mike ate a few chips. So chips is a plural countable noun, and rice, of course, is an uncountable noun. Okay, so now let's move to much, many, and a lot of. So we use much, many, and a lot of to refer to big quantities. So we use much, many, and a lot of to talk about big quantities. We use much with uncountable nouns. We use many with countable nouns. And we use a lot of for both countable and uncountable nouns. Okay, examples. French people don't drink much tea. So tea here is an uncountable noun. That's why we use much. Are there many pedestrian crossings in this town center? So pedestrian crossings is a plural countable noun. So that's why we use many. We use a lot of or lots of with countable and uncountable nouns. Example, there are a lot of or lots of road works in London. Okay, I can say there is a lot of water in the street, and this is with an uncountable noun, water. Okay, so we often use much and many in negative sentences and questions. We don't often use them in affirmative sentences. Examples, we didn't eat much food, or we didn't eat a lot of food. Were there many people at the party, or were there a lot of people at the party? Okay, so we don't often use much and many in affirmative sentences, and we can use a lot of instead. I can say that there is a lot of money here. There are a lot of books here. Okay, so now let's move on to this one here. So we use many, much, a lot of to refer to big quantities. We use many with countable nouns and much with uncountable nouns. And we can use a lot of with both countable and uncountable nouns. In modern English, it is very common to use a lot of in affirmative sentences instead of many and much. Okay, so many pens. Pens is a plural countable noun. Much money is an uncountable noun. A lot of pens and a lot of money. so we can use a lot of with both countable and uncountable nouns. Here are some examples. There are many things to do today, so things is a plural noun. We have a lot of time left, don't worry. Time is an uncountable noun. Many people, persons, this is a plural noun. Take the train to work. Okay, much Italian wine is sold abroad. So much Italian wine. Wine is a liquid, and all liquids are uncountable. So I can say tea is, water is, wine is. Okay, she plays a lot of sport. Okay, when we want to emphasize a really big quantity, we can add so in front of many and much. For example, there were so many passengers on the train. She had so much work to do. So now let's do this exercise here to make sure that you got it all. Let's start. Rewrite the following sentences. Number 1. There is some rubbish to take out. Use any. So notice here that the word rubbish is an uncountable noun. And of course we're going to put this sentence in the negative form. So it's going to be something like this. There isn't any rubbish to take out. Number 2. There isn't any beautiful scenery around my village. Use some. Notice here that the word scenery is an uncountable noun. So the word or the sentence is going to be something like this. There is some beautiful scenery around my village. Use, okay, so notice here the singular verb is. Okay, number 3. Let's go mountain biking. Are there any hills near here? Use yes. So of course this is going to be an affirmative statement. We're going to use some. So the sentence is going to be something like this. Yes, there are some hills near. Number 4. Yes, there are some cars in our street today. Use any. So we are going to ask a question. So it's going to be something like this. Are there any cars in our street today? Now let's move on to lesson 4. Let's start with this quick revision. Choose the correct answer. Number 1. The village doesn't have pollution. Notice here that the word pollution is an uncountable noun. So the answer would be much. So the village doesn't have much pollution. Number 2. On the high street you can find cafes. So this word cafes is plural. So it's going to be, the answer is going to be a few. Number 3. There isn't entertainment in my small village. This word entertainment is an uncountable noun. So we are going to use much. Number 4. I spent time chatting with my uncle. So time is an uncountable noun. So we are going to use a little. Okay, now let's move on and study these new words here. Let's start with the first one. Pedestrian crossing. So what do we mean by a pedestrian crossing? It's a marked place for people to walk across the road. For example, the cars stopped and we walked across the pedestrian crossing. And of course, here is a picture of a pedestrian crossing. Cottage. It's a small house in the countryside. For example, my grandparents live in a cottage. Lane. It's a narrow road in the countryside. For example, we walked through the lane to reach our cottage. Hedge. So hedge is a row of small bushes or trees grown close together. For example, there is a hedge that divides one garden from another. And here is a picture of a hedge. Stream, a small river. For example, the man is fishing in the stream. Advertisement. So it's a picture set of words or a short film to persuade people to buy a product. For example, I saw an advertisement about a new shampoo. So now let's do this exercise here to make sure that you got it all. Number 1. There is a peg for basketball trainers in the street. So the answer is advertisement. Okay. Number 2. We walked along to the wood. So the answer is footpath. What do you mean by footpath? A footpath is a path, especially in the countryside, for walking on. And here is a picture of a footpath. Okay, number 3. The water goes down and then into the river. So the answer is stream. Number 4. The wind, the grey clouds away and left a blue sky. So the wind blew, and blew is the past form of blow, to move or make currents of air. Number 5. His grandparents live in the countryside. So in a small cottage in the countryside. So now let's do this exercise on lesson 3. Let's start. Number 1. The village doesn't have pollution. So the answer is much. Number 2. On the high street you can find cafes. So the answer is a few, because cafes is a plural noun. Number 3. There isn't entertainment in my small village. So there isn't much, because entertainment is an uncountable noun. Number 4. There aren't any ugly buildings in my city, and there is some beautiful around it. So some beautiful scenery. And by the word scenery we mean the natural features of an area, such as mountains, valleys, rivers, and forests. Okay, number 5. Would you like some pasta? Just, I am not very hungry. So the answer is just a little, because pasta is an uncountable noun. It is food. Number 6. I spent time chatting with my uncle. So I spent a little time. Here this word time is an uncountable noun. It is the measurement of minutes, hours, days, and so on. Number 7. She always buys expensive jewels. She has got money, so she has got a lot of. And this word here, this phrase here, a lot of, can be used with countable and uncountable nouns. Number 8. New York is one of the most exciting cities in the world. There are thriving things to do there. So there are lots of. Number 9. How times have you seen the film? So how many times? And here this word times is a countable noun, and it means the occasion when you do something. And this is of course different from this word time, that means the measurement of minutes, hours, or days. Number 10. Do you have free time in the afternoon? So do you have any free time? Here is this time here is an uncountable noun. 11. We don't have time. We will have to hurry. So we don't have much time. 12. How seconds are there in an hour? So how many seconds? Number 13. The attack on the shop caused damage. So caused a lot of damage. Rewrite the following sentences. Number 1. There is no rubbish to take out. Use any. so we are going to put this in the negative form. So there isn't any rubbish to take out. Number 2. There isn't any beautiful scenery around my village. Use no. So the answer is, there is no beautiful scenery around my village. Number 3. Do you need any help? Use would. So the answer is, would you like some help? Number 4. I have few friends. Use many. So I don't have many friends. Number 5. How much money have you got? Use many. So the answer is, how many pounds have you got? So many is followed by a plural noun. Number 6. Not many people know the answer to that question. So the opposite of many is few. So few people know the answer to that question. Number 7. There is little unemployment in the area because of tourism. Use much. So there is much employment in the area because of tourism. Number 8. Very few people passed the exam. Use failed. So the opposite of few is many. So many people failed the exam. I didn't do the exercise because I had no time. Use any. So I did not do the exercise because I didn't have any time. Okay. Number 10. Can I have a glass of water, please? Use some. So the answer is, can I have some water, please? Would you like to drink some tea? Use a. So would you like to drink a cup of tea? So now let's do this exercise on lesson 4. Number 1. There is a peg for basketball trainers in the street. So the answer is advertisement. Number 2. We walked along there to the wood. So the answer is the footpath. Number 3. The water goes down there and then into the river. So goes down that stream. Number 4. The wind. The grey clouds away and left a blue sky. So the answer is blue. Number 5. His grandparents live in the countryside. So in a small cottage. Number 6. To take the next bus, please go to the nearest. So the answer is bus stop, bus station. Number 7. You cannot cross the road using your car. There are many. So the answer is road works. And by road works we mean repairs that are being done to the road or an area where these repairs are being done. Okay. Number 8. The new road has special for bikes. So the answer is a special lane. Okay, rewrite the following sentences. Number 1. When she broke her leg, she was skiing. Use while. So the answer is, while she was skiing, she broke her leg. So after while we put the longer action. And after that we put the action that interrupted that longer action. Number 2. There are only a few cars on the motorway. Use traffic. Traffic is an uncountable noun, so the answer is going to be something like this. There is only a little traffic on the motorway. Number 3. The natural landscape near my village is really, really beautiful. Use scenery. So, the scenery near my village is really beautiful. Number 4. There isn't much sugar in my tea. Use little. So the answer is, there is little sugar in my tea. Number 5. I don't have much money, but it is enough for me. Use a little. So I have a little money. So that's it for today. I hope you understand this lesson. Goodbye.